of your Amiami Recap is how much do you reckon you influence the audience and watch your videos in terms of buying decisions? How much influence would you say you have?
More than I wish I did.
Similar figures, or even in the same series, like Fire Emblem, the two that just came out, Lilina and Roy, compared to like Byleth and other things that came out previously, I'm finding the price hike is quite significant. And as you know, I live in Japan, right? So no cost benefit there for me.
Yeah, I got increasingly more and more mad about it until the point where I'm just like, I need to just live with the reality that figures are going to cost this much, or else my entire video every single month would just be, this is too expensive, this is too expensive. So I've lowered my standards so that the increased prices are now normal-ish, and I it's like twice as much as they used to be. It's really ridiculous.
But I remember playing Pokemon Stadium. I was obsessed with the mini games and playing it. Did you get into Pokemon Stadium?
Yeah.
Sushi
so much
go
time
around.
spent playing those mini games. Yeah.
Like the difference was the best one for me was the Kakuna and Metapod, the hardening one where the rocks come up and hit you and you've got to harden just in time. I always wanted that one, but the funnest one. It might have to be the sushi one, isn't it? It's just the most.
I like Licking Tongue. I just like his.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Miyazaki Man podcast. It's Miyazaki Man Si here. I'm delighted to be joined by Ando from the Ando Experience. How are you doing, sir?
Hey. Glad to be here. Having a good day, good night.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, no, very good, very good. So obviously your channel is popping, it's blowing up very big at the moment. Over 7k subscribers. You do an Amiami Recap. You mix in humor, your sense and personality, your kind of opinions of the figures, and myself as a fan, I just love to hear your thoughts and on the pricing, on the scale, on the design, on the composition of the figure. So yeah, tell me, I know you've evolved your channel, it's gone through several elements since the start to now. So yeah, how did you begin your YouTube journey and what got you to where you are now?
Well, I started my YouTube channel because I really just wanted an excuse to buy a camera. So that's it. I bought the camera and I'm like, I'm going to make some videos, and some people I worked with were doing YouTube themselves. So I buy this camera, start making reviews, and I just started doing that every week for like a year.
Yeah.
I didn't skip a week of reviews. And eventually branched out into doing voiceover reviews and then just talking about figures. And now
Sure.
I mainly do Amiami Recap, where I just complain about the state of the industry, basically.
Indeed. So yeah, there's a lot to take on board there. So first of all, which camera started you off? Do you remember the model?
Canon M50. I still have it. It's still
Canon
what I
M50.
use. Except for this, I bought a webcam, which was like my big upgrade of the year. Because before that, I was using a Kinect, like a Xbox Kinect.
Yeah, definitely
which
an upgrade.
barely worked. Yeah, they need an upgrade, so we're good now.
Absolutely. And which cam did you upgrade to? Is it the industry standard Logitech Brio or a different brand?
I went with the Razer Kiyo Pro.
Oh yeah.
It was like half price. I'm like, all right, let's go.
Why not? Yeah. So basically, like, I've been looking at webcams and whatnot, and they've actually rebranded Logitech to Logicool for some reason in Japan, which is why I found it hard to find some of the models. But Logicool, why not? So I started with this Depth 4K because I thought 4K sounded interesting and the price was really cheap. But 4K in a good brand is different than 4K in a cheapo brand. So I definitely noticed a difference when I went back to Logitech.
Yeah, I stick with 1080p for all my stuff, but I'd love to do 4K. I've wanted to upgrade my actual camera for a while, but I'm like, I can't justify that price.
It's pricey. It's pricey. I know what you mean. And these days as well, like, you wouldn't want to work completely in 4K because the file sizes are huge as well, and it takes a long time to render and get up to YouTube as well. But I can see the benefits in the future. It'll be nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, back to the early stages. So you actually started buying figures and collecting figures and going into the kind of weeb merch, but eventually you kind of siphoned out. Was it due to kind of space or pricing, or what was the big thought process behind that?
So I think it was mainly the pandemic because there was no shipping to Japan from Japan to Australia.
Okay, I see.
And so that's only just come back now, and I got a package today that I'm waiting 5 weeks for. I thought it was lost, but it just showed up. I'm like, yes. So it was mainly that. It was also really bad exchange rate from the yen to Australian dollars, which is now the yen is worthless, which is great for me, but maybe not so much for you. And then what else? There was just like I don't have space anymore for figures.
Tell me about it. Space is a premium.
my room is maxed out, so I have I don't know how many figures, maybe like more than 10, 15 that I have. I really want to open them, but I can't put them anywhere, so I just be opening them and putting them back in the box. I'm just like, may as well not even bother.
Yeah, it makes sense. When you've actually got that kind of space to properly display them and give them the kind of integrity they deserve, to be displayed front and center, then yeah, that makes sense to me. Better than what I'm doing, because I opened the boxes. I actually had to dispose a lot of boxes, not because I wanted to or couldn't put them back in, because I had other boxes coming. So if I didn't get rid of the boxes, literally, in terms of volumes, there's nowhere left to put them. So yeah, and unfortunate that. But also, you went into the kind of Amiami kind of recap niche, so I'm actually relatively new to Amiami. I use that for pre-orders. I used to use a site called Surugaya, sometimes Mandarake before, and Hobby Stock. But Amiami, what makes Amiami like the gold standard for kind of, for foreigners to order figures and to look at the figures coming out and utilize that website?
I think Amiami, if you go like on any message board like Reddit, and I think 4chan has some like new person guide thing, like anywhere you go, everyone's like, just look at Amiami. It's like the default for everyone, and I think as more people join the hobby, more people get directed to Amiami, more people only have experience with Amiami, and it's just this like cycle of Amiami snowballs to be the biggest website. And so I just sort of leverage that for my series. I don't shop from there too much, but they have been getting more exclusive stuff, and I think they've been manufacturing some of their own figures now. But yeah, I can't recommend them that much. I find that they're really slow to ship things out, especially recently, because years ago I was fine with them, but ever since the pandemic it feels like it takes weeks to get a response from support or for something to get shipped out.
Yeah, I completely understand what you mean, because having started to use Amiami in the last few months, I've definitely got a love-hate relationship with it. So on the plus side, I guess the ability to have an English-facing site is obviously very helpful worldwide. They've got their Japan variant and the English mirror. The fact that you can cancel up until the invoice comes out for pre-order, I think, is a big draw to many people. But in terms of the kind of interface and finding the figure you want, especially when like pre-owned stuff drops, which my buddy Austin walked me through in a previous podcast, I find it really hard to navigate the site. There's not many filtering options or sorting options. Do you find that as well?
If you know what you're searching for, it's I think it's okay. I find that most figure websites don't have great searching anyway. And the main way I interact with these, and the way I do it through Amiami Recap, is I just save the front page every 5 days, and then I go through the front page for like a month worth at a time. Because otherwise I don't check Amiami every day. But yeah, I think another draw of them is like what you mentioned, the pre-owned section. I can't think of another store that does new things and pre-owned things. Because I really like Mandarake, and when I'm in Japan, I love going to Mandarake.
Oh, yes.
I never check it too often because I'm like, one, I'm going to spend a lot of money, but they don't have new things, so like I don't need to check it all the time. No, window shopping is very dangerous, because I'm a creature of habit as well. When I start looking through these sites, I don't intend to buy anything. There's nothing I'm particularly looking out for, but there's always that one thing that pops up. You're like, oh, that's a rare find. That's not usually, the price point is actually okay. I shouldn't, could I? And then you're in danger. The red zone alarm bells are ringing, and then you're like, oh, I've got way too expensive pre-order list this month, and
Yeah, so Mandarake is definitely a good one in person as well. I definitely use a site called Surugaya very often. I find a lot of good stuff there. I don't know if they ship worldwide, so that might be an issue. There might be proxies or something that allow you to ship worldwide. But one thing I've really found in the kind of figure searching kind of hobby is a lot of people are really obsessed. So you mentioned you don't look at Amiami every day, but some people are like on it 24/7. They're literally, their life is on it. They've got tabs open constantly, right?
Yeah. I used to. It's just back when I was more into figures, I feel like there was like a honeymoon period for me that lasted years.
I know what you mean.
And now I'm like in the very real, very cynical like if there's a figure I like, it'll show up. If I miss something, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So in the honeymoon kind of section, you're literally just spamming opening tabs and having multiple things across. Like, admittedly, I'm going to be honest, I have a lot of things I'm still keeping my eye on, and I have them open as tabs just because on certain sites like Surugaya, there's time sales. So if I open my laptop up and the tabs open and I see a big cross against the original price and the new price, if they've given me a significant enough discount, I will pull the trigger, and they're the only ones I've left open. The ones I'm like, the ones too expensive and whatnot. And maybe I'm also past that kind of honeymoon period, not just because like I already own a lot of figures and stuff like that, just because, as you mentioned, the space and the price adds up. And speaking of price as well, have you noticed in the industry, the prices are getting a little bit insane and putting off at the moment, especially when you compare them with similar figures or even in the same series, like Fire Emblem, the two that just came out, Lilina and Roy, compared to like Byleth and other things that came out previously. I'm finding the price hike is quite significant, and as you know, I live in Japan, right? So no cost benefit there for me.
Yeah, I got increasingly more and more mad about it until the point where I'm just like, I need to just live with the reality that figures are going to cost this much, or else my entire video every single month would just be, this is too expensive, this is too expensive. So I've lowered my standards so that the increased prices are now normal-ish, and I it's like twice as much as they used to be. It's really ridiculous.
You've normalized it now, yeah. It's just become, expected. Oh, here we go again for 40,000 yen. Okay.
it was worse when the exchange rate was really bad for me. It was getting worse.
Yeah.
And then the figure price was going up, and I'm like, I pre-ordered this figure, I put down the full payment for it, and then by the time it comes out, the exchange rate's better. And it's like,
no. Yeah, I've protected myself a little bit against that because I actually still earn in UK pounds because I work for a UK company, so I have the option to transfer the money over to Japan when exchange rates are good, and that way I guard myself a little bit against the yen hike. But obviously, my existing yen here, when I need to pull the trigger, there's not much benefit there. But one other thing that I also was like thinking about of your Amiami recap is, how much do you reckon you influence the audience to watch your videos in terms of buying decisions? How much influence would you say you have?
More than I wish I did. There's a lot of times where I'm like, I'll just say some offhand comment about a figure, and then I'll get a comment of someone being like, I was on the fence about this, but because you said this thing, I bought it. And I'm like, why? Don't do that. Because like, I'm very picky about what figures I buy. Yeah. And it seems like a lot of the other bigger YouTubers in this space, they'll just pre-order anything. People have like their yearly pre-order videos, and they go off this list of like 80 figures that you have pre-ordered. Yeah. I did mine earlier this year. I had like 5, and there's like 3 of those were like delayed from last year. It is what it is.
You should have, what you should have done? You should have extended like the thought process behind buying it and a review just to match the length of those people who do like 80 figures, just for the lols.
Yeah.
Indeed. So, and, you go for it. Yeah.
No, you go. I don't know. What
so in terms of your kind of fan base, did you get like those regular people, like those names that you recognize on your video to video that always crop up and have their input and their say and interactions?
Yeah, I see people come and go. Sometimes I'll like reply to comments on people for months before I remember who they are, and I'm so sorry about that. But it is what it is. I used to reply to every comment or I read every comment, but it's too much to reply to everyone, and so I often feel bad when I can't reply to someone.
Sure, yeah.
Especially if they leave me like a really big wall of text. I'm like, I'll get back to that, and then I never do. And I think YouTube's really bad at notifying sometimes, especially when someone replies to your comment in a thread. It just gets lost, and I'm like, I only find that by checking the video and reading through all the comments again. I did have someone make like a fan highlights video of me, which was weird, but it was like really cute as well. I'm like, this is funny. So that was really nice. But
was this like a fan video? I've got to say, you've got to link me afterwards. But is this like a fan video where they are kind of giving you praise for what you're doing and the type of thing you're doing, or is it a personal one?
It was clips of like Amiami Recap and me just saying funny things. Some things that some things weren't jokes, but it's they ended up in like the funny moments. Highlights. Really, so. It is what it is. Man, I don't think I'm as funny as people think I am.
Man, you're underselling yourself, man. I thoroughly enjoy your videos, and I'm sure everyone will do as well. I'll link you in the bottom description, and everyone else check out Ando's Experience and subscribe as well. It's definitely good entertainment for the Amiami Recap. But yeah, no, speaking of which, I would say you're like in a kind of comfortable area of YouTube now, where you've progressed past the initial kind of grind to get that first initial core fan base, and people know what you do now and know what to expect from video to video and a kind of delivery and presentation. So you have that constant interaction, that kind of fan base. You can make your videos knowing that people are enjoying it. So what's the kind of next step then? What's the next evolution of the Ando Experience?
Well, I've been wanting to make a room to a video for years. That's like, this is a project that I've been putting off forever. And it's because my room is just like way too messy. And I recorded it one time and I wasn't satisfied with it, so I scrapped it. I think that was actually a year ago now that I recorded that. And I should have just like released it back then, and then I could have done an updated one now.
Yeah, then and now. Yeah, then and now. Foresight.
But one day I need to clean my room. So I had a few videos related to that I've been working on, but who knows if I'll ever get around to releasing them.
Absolutely. Let's make a pact then. So let's say before the second quarter of next year, we both need to do a room reveal. Whereas you're unhappy with how messy it is, and I'm definitely unhappy with how messy it is. But for me, it's literally a physical impossibility right now. I can barely move or walk around in my room. So it'll be me panning around 360. Yeah, we should do it, man. I think it'll get hype. We should properly hype it up, and Ando's room experience. Let's have a look. See, this is the kind of secret den of a mastermind creator. We need to see what it looks like.
It's not as interesting as people probably think it is. I bought like new shelves and stuff for all my books at the start of last year. Yeah, that's how long I've been planning it, like January. And I'm like, I've got these new shelves. It's gonna look really good. Everyone's gonna love my books, and no one has seen those shelves.
and that's the thing as well, right? I've seen some other big YouTubers, especially in a kind of same niche and kind of weeb anime area. But do you reckon that they do the shelves up and the lighting just for the presentation and show? Do you think they like maintain it properly, or is it just put it there to look nice, but actually on the weekdays and normal days it gets a bit messy and stuffy, and until the next video shoot?
I think if they treat it like a set, they probably don't touch it at all. I wish I had a cool set behind me. I would love that. It's just my computer is not in my room. I wish it was, but
I see. Yeah,
if
no,
you
I
add the
can
computer to the room, then I have even less space for the figures.
And then you'll be welcome to my world, where I've jammed 5 monitors in front of me, what I'm looking at now, and random assortment of shells, one which costs 2,000 yen, one which costs 30,000 yen, and other things I've picked up from second-hand bargain bin.
Yeah, I keep some stuff out of my room. I keep some figures here, but this guy's always on my desk.
Oh, yep.
Red
representing
from Pokemon.
Red.
Forgetting Pokemon, me. Strange.
Absolutely. You a big Poke fan?
Hell yeah.
Which characters do you like from the series?
Like Pokemon? Pokemon or people?
Yeah.
Pokemon.
In general, yeah.
Pokemon, I always have to say my favorite is Flareon.
Flareon, yeah.
Because Flareon is popular, and they make merch of Flareon. It's not that Flareon is my absolute favorite all-time Pokemon. It's just, it's easier that way if I say it is. Because then I can at least get merch for my favorite, and then it's fine. It's all good.
Sure.
Yeah. But I've been playing Pokemon since I couldn't read. I would have been like 4 maybe.
School, isn't it? Yeah.
And so I fumbled through all the menus, and I guess the games eventually taught me to read, and it's just been part of my life forever.
It's epic. I mean, when you grow up with like Pokemon, with Dragon Ball, with all the old school anime, you know, it has that kind of sentimental attachment to you. Because I'm the same as you, right? I remember my first experience of Pokemon. So back in the day in Cambridge, UK, my dad used to own a import game store, which was quite fortunate, quite a fun experience. And
fun.
It was really exciting because, you know, you get all these foreign imports from Japan and everywhere else. Obviously, a lot of people, you don't understand the menu or can't read it. Me neither at the time. But just the fact that you could get exposure to some of these stuff was really, really fun. And when Red and Blue first came out, right, you know, in the instruction manual, and Pikachu was the big thing. You're like, which one has Pikachu? Is it going to be red or is it going to be blue? And I had red to begin with, and I opened it up, and it shows you in the Pokédex some reveals, and it's actually just to show you what the Pokédex kind of looks like. And I was like, yes, red's got Pikachu in it. I lucked out, yes. And then I realised that actually, no, it's just a standard one in both. And I was like, okay. Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
I was too young at the time when those games came out, but my brothers had both for some reason. So
okay.
I just got to pick whichever one was the throwaway one that I was allowed to use. And
you inherited it.
Yeah. And then when Gold and Silver came out, I got Gold and my brother got Silver. And that was epic.
That's sweet, man. That means you actually had someone to trade and fill up your whole Pokédex with, right? So you had the.
I don't think we ever played together. I don't think we ever tried.
Oh, really?
There's an 11-year age gap between me and my next oldest brother.
Right. Okay.
So we were like, he was sort of on the older end of things, and I was on the younger end of that whole spectrum. So we never like interacted like that all that much. Which is
okay. Yeah, a little bit similar. Yeah, because my brother, my younger one, the closest one to me, is actually 10 years apart. So I have a very similar experience to you, whereby, you know, there is that significant age gap. But I think he was so into games as well, as is my youngest brother, who's 14 years away from me, right? So significant age gap. But I remember playing Pokemon Stadium. I was obsessed with the mini games and playing it. Did you get into Pokemon Stadium?
Yeah.
Sushi
so much
go
time
around.
spent playing those mini games. Yeah. And
the
fairy,
yes, fairy. Yeah. Which one's your favourite? Those minigames.
I don't know. It's been so long. I do have fond memories of the licky tongue sushi though.
Oh yeah, the sushi. Yeah, classic. Like the difference was the best one for me was the Kakuna and Metapod, the hardening one where the rocks come up and hit you and you've got to harden just in time. I always wanted that one, but the funnest one. It might have to be the sushi one, isn't it? It's just the most. I
like Licky Tongue. I just like his.
Oh yeah, classic. I mean, it just gives you so many memories, really. But when you think of Pokemon, you've got so many iconic things like the Licky Tongue thing, the kind of Pikachu, the Psyduck, the Charmander, the kind of Tsundere aspect of, you know, of Charizard and whatnot. But then you got like other spin-offs like Digimon and whatnot. I don't know. I like Digimon, but I didn't really have that super attachment that I did with Pokemon. What was your take on that kind of thing?
Yeah, I watched the Digimon anime, and I remember renting some Digimon games for like the PS1 or something way back then, but I never got really attached to it either. It was just like, this was cool, but Pokemon has always just been the constant thing. Same with Yu-Gi-Oh as well, collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
I was going to say Yu-Gi-Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh!
It was like side gig to my Pokemon addiction.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh my days. I really enjoyed it. So I started right at the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I was a little bit put off by Dungeon Dice Monsters. I thought that was a little bit different than what I grew to like with, you know, the traditional card aspect of it. And then when the newer series came out as well, I was hooked straight back into it. But I'm really behaving myself right now because if I buy start buying Yu-Gi-Oh figures, especially like the Winged Dragon of Ra or that kind of series. I know I need the whole display, the whole collection, and that gets expensive.
Those new ones look really good. They're Kotobukiya, right?
Yeah, Kotobukiya, yeah.
They look really good.
So, although I think some of them are Mega House. I think Mega House do some Yu-Gi-Oh.
I might be getting my wires crossed, but all of them look really cool.
I know, right? I know, but they need space, they need a budget, and you can't stop at one. When you get one, you have to get all three, and if you get all three, you're going to end up with other dragons as well. And then was it Ultimate Blue Eye Dragon, and then you got to get the Red Eye Black Dragon. That's a badass design, and it doesn't stop.
I've had to stop myself from doing that because I went into Nendoroid collecting a lot because they were cheaper than scale figures. The issue was, I would buy so many Nendoroids, I'd buy like 3 or 4, and I could have just bought the scale figure I wanted instead of buying 4 Nendoroids. But I'm like, it's cheaper, it's better. And so I got in a real bad habit of trying to finish like collections of Nendoroids and just buying ones that are of characters I don't actually like that much, just because, I have 2 of the 3 of them, I may as well do it. Or even early on with YouTube, like, I should review the entire series, and it's like, I don't care about most of these characters. So I've just had to put this hard limit on myself, like, only characters I like, or that I think are cute. So
yeah, of course, that's a big one. Cute, sexy, and hot, especially the waifus. That's a big draw as well. And I know exactly what you mean. I think this is actually a very good tip for all prospective kind of hobbyists in this area. You kind of feel the need to complete the sets and collections, but your point around actually liking the character, are they your favorite character, is I think more valid than trying to complete the set, because these things aren't particularly cheap. They take up space as well, and it's a kind of untoward pressure that, let's say for example you have 4 or 5 missing figures from 3 or 4 different sets. If you didn't buy them, you probably have enough budget to buy a character that you really, really like, or a figure that you really, really like coming out, and that will ultimately make you happier long term, because you'll be like, who are you trying to prove and show off to? That, wow, I've got the set, I've completed the set, look at this, right? And when you look at it, you're not even looking at the girl that you don't like, because she's either like really chibi or really not great to look at.
I feel like I buy a lot of things just because I like to share what I buy with people. Like, even outside of YouTube and reviews and stuff, before I was doing this, I would post to Reddit all the time about, like, hey, I bought this thing, look at it, give me upvotes. And so now I can, instead of asking for upvotes, I get lots of views, which is way more fulfilling.
Exactly. Yeah, you no longer have to like kind of fulfill your e-peen and show off and and get that gratification, which is a big thing, by the way. A lot of people, especially like the newer collectors, like the people who have like a substantial, huge collection, and they say, I've started collecting a month ago, and like, what's the point? It's something to enjoy over time, and really decide what you want and get a thrill of opening and getting it. It just becomes a chore if you just like mass and hoard in one big batch, would you say?
Yeah, I think people get really what's the word? Caught up, stuck, lost. I don't know. There's a word that I'm forgetting. Trapped. I think trapped is probably a good word. By pre-orders, and when they don't take an upfront deposit. And so people spend all this time going through, when they find out, hey, I really like anime figures, they go through like all the websites, they go through all the pre-orders, and then they just pre-order like everything without thinking, and they're like, yes, future me will figure out how I'm going to pay for all this.
That's right.
So what I do is I've always set myself, I have the money to pay for way more stuff than I buy, but I always limit myself, and if I have too many things that I have on pre-order, or if I can, I like to pay up front just so that money is gone, and it's not going to come back to bite me in like a year. To
manage the cash flow, for sure, because right, those type of people that you describe, and I have all the sympathy in the world for them, because it's easy to get caught up, the adrenaline, the excitement, and being part of the kind of horde, and yes, I'm a big player here, I'm a super giga whale or Chad or Leviathan buyer or whatever. It's like, you just ask them honestly, can I look at your pre-order list, or can you show me your pre-order list, or have you even looked at your own pre-order list? And then they're like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And then I know exactly what you mean, but it's an interesting point that you said you don't have to post to Reddit anymore because you get the views anyway. So how did you make the jump from that kind of initial kind of establishment of the Ando Experience and your kind of brand and your kind of channel to getting that core base? Did you do anything differently to get that first massive wave of impressions, showing your quality content to get subscribers, or did you actively do something to make that happen?
I think the biggest thing that happened, I may be getting the timelines wrong, but I wasn't really getting anywhere with posting reviews of specific figures every month. That was something that I liked. I thought people would be interested in it, but since I was reviewing so many different things, no one's really sticking around for the next week's review, which is about a completely different figure from a different series. Mm-hmm. It's just something that I like, and that's why I'm reviewing it.
Sure.
So I knew that to get partnered on YouTube, I'm not sure if it's still the case, you needed 1,000 subscribers and you needed 4,000 hours of watch time, I think.
Yep, I think that's still the case, yes. Yes.
So all of my reviews were 2 minutes, 3 minutes, really. And because I like to be very concise, very short and sweet, that was like my mantra of all those early videos. Like, sure. I hate watching, well, I mean, I enjoy watching very long reviews, but if I'm buying something, I do want a review that's just very concise, straight to the point, shows me all the things. Yes. And then if you want a 15-minute video where someone's fumbling around, unboxing the thing, not really knowing what they're talking about, there's other videos that you can probably find that are for you. But for me, I wanted to do those very concise things. But the issue with that is that I didn't get any of the watch hours that I needed.
Yeah, of course. It was very short and sweet.
So then I had to branch into the longer form videos, which is where I started doing Amiami Recap and stuff like that. My first one was like 44 minutes or something. And so that really boosted up my watch time to the point where I could get monetized. At the same time, I also had a video titled 5 Anime Figures I Regret Buying, which now I started that. I'm sure I started that. Everyone else then made their own 5 anime figures I regret buying because that video got picked up by the algorithm, and that's nearly at 100,000 views right now. My next highest video after that's, I don't know, below 20,000. So that one has gone picked up by the algorithm twice now, which is where I've got a real influx of subscribers.
Sure.
Because I've been doing this for 3 years now, but there was like a week in January 2021, I think, where I got 1,000 subscribers. Wow. And it was just because that video was getting shown to everyone. Everyone found me, and then none of my other videos got picked up, and I just got dropped back down again. But hoping for the next algorithm hit. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, no, I've seen that video as well. It's definitely a very popular, very, very good video, and I think everyone picked up on that trend as well because they're like, wow, the algorithm's loving the rejected waifus and figures. And so basically, it was like launch pad of your kind of magnificent growth of the channel, and from then onwards you've got those kind of people who know what you're about to even see you, because that's the main thing I found with YouTube, right? It doesn't matter how good your content is and all the other pieces of advice that those channel makers can give you, it's people need the opportunity to know you exist, then they actually watch your thing, and as long as your thing is good, that's how you retain them. But the first bit's the most important, getting those initial impressions, and I guess that's why people spam Reddit, forums, pay for Google ads and do whatever they can, right? Just to get their thing out there in front of people, because that's all you can do really. If you don't get the impressions, your chance of succeeding is literally zero.
Yeah. Those first 100 subscribers or so was really difficult, I think. And I know I was getting notification every time I got a subscriber, and so it was one every few days maybe, and I'd be like, yes, new subscriber, yeah, let's go. And the days where I get 2 or 3, it was just so magical. And now I'm I try not to check my subscriber count because I get too caught up in it, but
That's an excellent point. How often do you check your YouTube Studio, your app on your computer?
When I post a new video, I'll wait and I'll just keep refreshing for the first half an hour until the analytics show up. And I can see, like, I'm like, oh, I've got like 150 views. That's not enough. Just, this sucks. But the way YouTube seems to recommend my videos is that it'll just show it to my subscribers, and then after like a day or two, it'll be like, hey, time to branch out the audience. And so I find that a lot of my growth comes a few days after I upload, which is weird.
I know what you mean.
It feels a bit counterintuitive. But that initial spike of views always seems to be the existing subscriber base.
Yes.
And then afterwards, it's YouTube's.
I can completely relate to that. I think you've got it spot on, because my experience exactly correlates with that. So the first few viewers, right, the first few impressions are obviously the people who are initial subscribers and probably hit the bell icon to see your thing come up straight away, as well as anywhere else you've posted direct links to. You see some external kind of traffic come in, and it seems to be only after 24 to 48 hours it seems to be exposed to new audience, as in, kind of new organic crowd that comes in, and then based on their reactions to the video, that really is what makes or breaks your continued algorithm luck. So if that particular segment performs well, YouTube will say, okay, let's show it to another 100, another 1,000, another etc. With those first few people in that 24-hour, 48-hour new audience segment, like, don't like the video, come off after 15 seconds or something, I find the impressions get drip-fed. It's just not there.
Yeah.
So it's quite volatile, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty disheartening seeing, like, it just feels like luck of the draw, especially with my monthly videos. Like, I don't pick what the content is there, really, and they're all sort of the same. But when one of them doesn't perform, I'm like, why though? It's not different to anything else. And then the next month, my views will be like all-time high. So,
yeah. It's very flaky. I mean, there's no exact science to this, and no matter what any of those kind of YouTube gurus tell you about a course, or give the audience what they want and a particular niche, and it's all about the thumbnail and title. Of course, they make an impact to an extent. There's an extent to what you can do, and obviously, the better you are in these areas. But you really, really need YouTube to give you that organic kind of nitro boost from behind to show it in front of people, to give you a chance to view it. Otherwise, I guess that's why some people get really caught up in the Google ads, because obviously you're guaranteed the impressions, right? You're not guaranteed the click-throughs and the audience retention time, but at least you're guaranteed the, not artificial, but paid impressions. so it's better than nothing so yeah. But definitely. So in terms of like Amiami Recap, then, would you say you'd ever branch out into other websites doing kind of the figures or the Weeb merch or Japan merchandise or goods, or is Amiami definitely the focus for the immediate future?
I just find Amiami as I was talking about before, it's the website that pretty much everyone knows and so many people buy from that it's like I could go on other websites. It's just harder for me to catalog everything that comes out within the month. And Amiami has most of the stuff anyway, so I don't care if I miss out on a few figures. And I some people might be like, I want your opinion on this thing, and if you ask me in the comments about a certain figure, I'm happy to look it up and then appraise it for you in a comment if I don't get to it in a video. I have been asked to do like 18 plus figures through Patreon or something. But I'm just like, I don't really care. Like, if anyone's familiar with my channel, I don't really go into any of that 18 plus stuff. I try to keep it family friendly, maybe. Sure. I don't know if that's a good word, but like
light-hearted and sarcastic, good fun.
People I know in real life like know my channel, so I'm like, I'm not gonna do weird stuff. But it's also just something that doesn't interest me that much. And so if I feel like if I did an 18 plus Patreon exclusive thing, I just feel like my heart wouldn't be in it. If I'm like, every figure that comes up, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, sure, anime girl with no clothes. You guys like it?
And that's an interesting point as well, right? Because Patreon obviously is the paid subscription to view those kind of reviews, but you can have adult content on YouTube as well, in terms of actually showing the like the binding figures or the sky tuber or whatever. Yeah,
I've stumbled across videos like that, and I'm like, wait, did I just see what I think I saw?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting for sure. But in terms of when you appraise a figure, so let's go with the Ando prioritization list. So let's say you are trying to convince me to buy a figure or help me justify me buying a figure. What is the listing? Would you go with looks, and even looks, let's break it down. Is it face? Is it composition? Is it base? We're talking about price. Is it dynamic kind of color scheme? Would it have to be a character you like? What would you say are the top 5 things that you'd say, tick, tick, tick on a figure, okay, I'm going to buy it?
All the above. I think the sculpt and the composition are probably the most important thing, because that's what the figure is. I think I can forgive poor color work like I have with some of the figures that I own. Some of the coloring can be a bit flat, but I'm like, I don't care, because the sculpt is really cool and it's a character I like a lot. So I think those two are probably the most important things. And then you get down to price, especially now where price is just so crazy. And coloring and everything. But usually I try to find... The figures I buy now are usually things that I feel like excel at a sculpt that is cute, at least. And I try to go for things that have a cool composition, but I don't have the space. Usually for something that has like a really nice base and it's fully realized and stuff, it's usually... Those are the sort of things I'd recommend people buy, but it's not something like I'm gonna buy. And I forget where I was going with that thought, but the figures I buy are just figures that I think are cute, really. And it's, I don't know, it's less about the base, I think, even though I go on about that all the time in my videos.
And would you have like any compromises that one can make up for the other? So for example, a really pretty face of a character you like will make up for the fact that the pose is so boring, and or the clothes or the everything so generic, but it's got a super pretty face. Or conversely, super nice kind of body sculpt, really shapely if it's a woman, but the face is a bit meh.
If we can talk about faces, because I think face is the biggest like make or break part of a figure, but it's very hard to judge from the prototype that we see before the figure's released. A lot of the time I feel like they oversell what the face is going to look like, and then it gets released and you see it in person, you're like, oh, that kind of sucks. Which happened to me with a figure I just got in the other day. I'm like, oh, her face isn't that cute. And then I turn the box around and look at the art on the back, and I'm like, why doesn't it look like this? But we'll see what happens when I take her out of the box. So I think, like, even if a face looks good in the prototype, I don't trust it. I think I think if it looks too good in the prototype, I'm very cautious, and if it looks bad in the prototype, it's straight out in the bin. So I think anything that just looks fairly standard and average for the face is probably the best thing to go for with the figure. Because it is, I don't know, sometimes they make the mouths and everything look really, really good, and then they never look that good when they turn out.
I understand what you mean, and little things make a huge difference. For example, even the distance between the eyes, or the distance between the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, and in the final end product, can really change the overall feel, or the cuteness of the figure. I seem to remember some. Did you ever play a game called Dead or Alive?
No, but I know about it.
A fighting game. Yeah, so it's a kind of a girly, fan servicey fighting game. So there's this character, kind of a young girl called Marie Rose, and I think could be one of the freeing bunny figures of her. She's meant to be like a really young, really cute, pretty girl, like a really young looking girl who's already 18. And because she's got this weird kind of leaning over pose, but because they stretched her eyes and her mouth so far away, the first comment on Amazon Japan by a Japanese person was, who is this grandma? I don't recognize this grandma. I didn't buy a grandma. I wanted a cute girl.
Yeah, if anyone's familiar with my channel, I am not a fan of bunny girls at all.
Yeah,
especially
I know.
all the freeing stuff. I've stopped talking about them too much in a lot of my videos just because I'm like, I can't go on about this every month. I can't keep
very
complaining
saturated
because it's very much like a me thing. Because I know people like them. You have a bunch of bunnies behind you. And it's like people are gonna like what they're gonna like, and bunnies are just not my thing.
But right, so I completely agree. In varying degrees. So I find that my tastes have changed significantly from when I first moved to Miyazaki, Japan last year. So initially, I started with some bunnies. I think I started with the Shirley from Code Geass, and then I bought some of the other bunnies of the characters I like. And when we go back to prioritization here, I started with characters I like, and then, okay, the designs are okay, but it's a character I like, get really into it. But now, let's say half a year later, I'm like, I really don't like generic poses. It's a bit of a cash grab and it's a bit generic. So you've got your bunny suit standing there, black bunny suit especially, standing there and face, and that's about it. And it's getting significantly more expensive. It is the character, but when I look into that series, there's better figures of that character at a smaller scale, that are more detailed and more like efficient in terms of price and spacing and that kind of thing. And then that's where I'm kind of leaning towards at the moment, finding the best figure of a given character, regardless of scale or brand, and going with that one. So I've ended up with a lot of bunny figures and it's great to say, wow, I've got a huge bunny collection, my massive EP and whoa, what a Giga Chad and a Weeb and, that kind of stuff. But actually, I find now that I will only buy a freeing bunny figure if it's significantly like dynamic or a character I really like and sculpt is good and the face is good and the price is fairly reasonable. I do have a few exceptions, but apart from that, I completely understand. Bunny figures, it's now been pushed way too hard and overemphasized. Whoa, bunny figure, freeing, 1/4 scale, huge. And then, the most generic comment you'll ever find is, oh, I got a bunny figure, but it doesn't fit in my Detolf.
Yeah. You have to get the ones that are like kneeling down or something.
yeah, the crouching ones. Yeah. Although one thing that I'm a little bit fortunate with, and I think not everyone will follow the same kind of thought process, is I really don't mind secondhand and damaged figurines because I'm not going to be constantly in the face of that figurine looking at every little design flaw. I'll take good care of the ones I have, but for a little scratch, or for example, the Revy bunny figure with the 2 guns, she's like super expensive now, but I bought her damaged with both ears snapped off, and because both ears were snapped off, it's like, I don't care, I'll glue it back on and you can never see it, and it was like 38,000 yen compared to 60,000 or whatever crazy it goes for, when it's like or in good condition.
Yeah, I've made a couple of videos talking about pre-owned figures. My experience with them has all been great, but that's mainly because I buy the ones that are unopened. So it's basically just a new figure. I don't know if I've bought anything that's actually secondhand. Maybe some prize figures and stuff that I don't care a whole lot about. But yeah, I mean, I think for anyone who wants the cost saving, it's definitely worth looking into.
Yeah, especially for the fact that characters you like, and especially the older figurines, right, which are really rare and hard to find, it may only come up in a kind of used or damaged or second-hand state, and if you don't get it then, you probably won't appear again for another year, 2 years, 5 years, or if ever, right? So sometimes it's worth just doing it just to get that kind of figure that you like, the character you like in your collection. But speaking of which, the rate of which they're releasing figures at the moment is crazy. Like, do you find like the actual market is booming now in terms of competition, variety of figures, and a lot of the same characters coming out again and again, obviously, but just the amount of figures coming out, hasn't it really boomed?
Yeah, I feel like, how long have I been doing Amiami Recap? 2 years? I think this month is my 2-year anniversary, maybe?
Oh, nice. Celebrating by coming on the podcast.
Yeah. So, it depends from month to month, but I think in general we have been trending towards way more figures, and it takes me... I feel like there's a lot more figures that I have to cut now. When I started Amiami Recap, I'm like, I'm covering every single scale figure I see. and even Nendoroids and stuff back then as well. But now, just to keep the videos to like a decent length, and so for each Amiami recap I record, that's like a 20-30 minute video. I spend 2 to 3 hours recording, and then I cut it all down to like actually something watchable. And just to like save myself the hassle of going through every single thing, there's so many things I have to skip now, and I introduced the speed round at the end of every episode to just go through like an extra 20 figures or something that I need to show, or I feel like I need to show because someone's going to ask me about it, but I don't have any opinion on it, or like I can't talk for a minute about this thing. I just have like one silly sentence to say about it, and if I did, the videos would be like 2 hours edited instead of 2 hours raw.
Sure. Yeah, I hear you completely in regards to that. Especially sometimes, you have loads of ideas from the outset of the content you want to capture, but when you actually start talking about it and going into detail, like, am I waffling a bit here? Is that really entertaining? Could it be cut? Should it be cut? Oh, I'm going to end up with a 2-hour video here, which nobody... even when you see a 2-hour video in the thumbnail preview, right? You're like, I don't want to really click on that for 2 hours. There might be some nice points, so... That's a great point to do. So what would be your kind of advice? Because I know you've got your thumbnail making down to an art, you've got your kind of template, and you know how to whip those out, and obviously descriptions and titles are spot on as well. But for any kind of prospective person trying to get into the hobby and even content creation, what would be your top 5 tips of how to begin and how to grow and how to stand out?
Video idea. Like, I think if you're gonna make it on YouTube, you have to be persistent. There's like all the time I'm like, oh, I should just like quit, and then I'd have so much free time to do other things. But I feel like at this point I have this social obligation where if I'm not talking about all the upcoming pre-orders and getting mad about them, no one else is gonna do it. Because everyone else, I am like, I feel like I'm the bastion of being chill and harsh on the figures, but I feel like recently I've been getting more, because there's more figures, there's more good figures for me to talk about, so I just talk about those instead. But yeah, I feel like I'm the place to be for the chill vibes, and I don't want that to go away, so that's why I keep making videos. Even in times where I don't want to, and I'm like, please, I just want to play Elden Ring or something.
Quality game.
So yeah, you have to be persistent with YouTube, and I think, especially for me and even some friends that I have doing YouTube, growth can be slow, and you should expect it to be slow. Like, you can't start doing YouTube and expect within like a couple of months you have 10,000, 100,000 subscribers like some people do. Like, it really is the luck of the draw. Yeah. Like, maybe you do start a channel and you get 100,000 subscribers, and it's like, oh, cool. How did that ever... Like, the mechanics of that happening is just... It's all down to luck, I think, a lot with the algorithm. And what sort of content you're making, how much you're making, and... Like, if you're really making good stuff, keep going, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I think YouTube is hard a lot of the time for me.
It very, very much is. It's a grind. It's a marathon, isn't it? It's not a race, and you can't get disheartened because there will be a lot of peaks and troughs. That kind of down in the dumps when the previous video did so well, and you feel you've got momentum and you got the adrenaline rush, and the next video you put a lot of effort in, and you thought it was even better than the previous one, and then it like absolutely dumps the fires and dies, and then it's just people got to keep that kind of positive mindset in the way that you're doing it because you first of all enjoy it, but also you want to do it, and it's going to be a long-term thing. You can't just go in expecting results straight away and comparing yourself to other people.
That's
and I guess something
for me.
Yeah. Comparisons,
people have started after me. People started after me, and now their channels are bigger than me, and I'm like, this sucks. I hate this, but like it is what it is. Because I've done that to people who I started after. And channels that I've
Yes.
been really inspired by, especially for my earlier videos,
Yeah.
have like basically no views and no subscribers compared to me, even though I think their content is great and really influential to me.
Yeah, I hear you as well. And like, in regards to really kind of putting it as a full-time career, because correct me if I'm wrong, this is not a full-time occupation for you,
Oh,
right?
no,
You
no,
also,
no.
yeah, right. So
Because
some
I'm on like a 1 video a month schedule right now, and that one video is me talking about anime figures for like 2 hours. So it's very much like when I have the time and the energy for it.
yeah,
I wish I could make more, especially at the start I was way more motivated. But now my videos are longer, there's more to edit.
sure.
I think there's more expectations of me.
Production values
I
and
do
the
less.
delivery, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, makes sense. And you know that's the thing as well. A lot of people have the kind of delusions of grandeur when they, I'm going to be a full-time YouTuber. If those other people can do it and they're making their millions and whatever, you know, why can't I? I'm interesting. I'm cool. And it's not a reality. You know, if you really want to be a full-time YouTuber content creator or kind of social persona, you've got to treat it like a business. Have an authentic business plan. Have all of the kind of digital marketing and digital assets, and start to build a team and, you know, commercialize it. But a lot of people aren't in that position, and obviously to do that you're going to need a big time investment. You're going to need to be very kind of skillful and creative. You're going to need a lot of luck from YouTube as well, a lot of persistence and a lot of support, because it probably takes quite a big financial investment to set up the kind of framework and ecosystem to make it like a full-time venture, isn't it?
Like, one of the things for me is that I make videos that I would want to watch, especially
Yes.
with my reviews. And like, if the camera quality isn't there and you're doing like shaky camera and stuff, it's just like, I don't want to see that, man. Just get a tripod. It's like $50, probably less because Australia's expensive. Get a
really?
nice
Yeah,
camera or like a new iPhone or something.
Yeah.
And then just get good footage, and then I think
Yes.
people will love it.
I think one thing that me and you have as a massive contributing factor to, you know, the growth and success so far. Obviously, you're much more evolved in a bigger space at the moment, but we're authentic. So as you mentioned, a cool, chilled kind of vibe, the kind of flow. You can just be yourself, talk in the way you normally talk. You don't have to put on a front or a character, because I think anyone who tries to be something they're not will burn out. It would be too stressful to try to keep up something, you know, this facade. Whereas if you just be yourself and show your passion and show your enthusiasm, your real opinions, your real anger or your real criticisms, I think people can relate to that, right? People really vibe with that.
A lot of my content, well, all of my content for, I think, a few years was entirely scripted. And Amiami Recap was maybe my first foray into going unscripted, because that was going scripted was what slowed down the process a lot for me, because I'd spend an extra hour or two writing a script for a 2-minute review. I'm like, this sucks. I just want to like get into editing and get it done. I want people to see this thing. So yeah, going unscripted just meant I am just gonna be myself, and apparently people like that, and I think people have people connect with that. I get comments of people saying, you know, these videos feel like I'm talking to a friend.
Sure.
And I think
I get that, yeah. I know what you mean. When I watch your
means a lot
videos, I
to
get
me
that a lot.
as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that sort of vibe is really nice.
So what I find, like, watching your videos and also talking to you, you're very easy to listen to. So your kind of tempo, your kind of pace, and your kind of tone, it's very easy to absorb what you're saying and understand the kind of empathy side of it and the feeling of what you're trying to, you know, transcribe to me. And I really enjoy that. I think a lot of the feedback that I've got is, and I'm completely like you, I don't script anything, because first of all, I'm a bit too lazy to script. Secondly, I've got a big mouth, so I can just talk without breathing for like hours on end. And what they've really fed back to me is they love the energy, the fact that I'm always like smiling and positive and just literally talking and carrying on the conversation, because it shows your kind of passion about it, your knowledge about it, and the fact that you want to connect and you want to share your experiences, because ultimately that's what it's all about, right? Why would you do something that no one can connect with and no one really empathizes or enjoys? people are into this hobby, this anime kind of figure collecting hobby, gaming hobby, and that kind of thing, and they want to hear other people's thoughts and experiences, ups and downs, you know, pain points, and I think that's a valuable thing that you can offer, right? You can offer your own viewpoint and hope that people get some benefit from it.
Yeah, I really appreciate your energy. That was something I noticed when I was going through your videos as well. Like, you seem really friendly and just like really easy to talk to as well. Because I'm pretty introverted, and a lot of the reason why my videos are like 3 hours unedited is because I just spend so much time just like thinking to myself and stumbling over my own words, talking by myself. And so in editing, there's just so much like dead time that I just need to cut out, and me just re-saying lines trying to get them perfect when they don't need to be perfect. I think people would be fine if I had some ums and ahs and things in my videos, but I'm just like, while I'm editing, I'm like, I'm just need to take this out because I can.
Perfectionist. Yeah, I know.
It just makes things way too long, but at least it gets the video shorter.
Yeah, no, you do get a better video for it, and I think people appreciate that because a lot of people won't see the work that you put on behind the scenes to make sure that, you know, the delivery of that content is the best it can be, or as concise as it can be, because, you know, people's time is valuable and they're committing their time to watching the thing that you made, and in return you've shown the love by giving them, you know, the best effort, by cutting out all of the, you know, the wasted footage and whatnot, and I think it really shows throughout the kind of content that you make, and that's why, you know, people watch to the end, I'm assuming, you know, with a recap, which is actually a great idea, because every segment of your video is like a different content, a different figure, a different piece of merch, so it doesn't give the viewer an excuse to leave the video, which means the retention must be pretty good, right? So that's actually a genius idea.
Yeah, especially once YouTube introduced chapters, and then I've started using chapters for every single figure that I show. I just initially started that because I forget what I've looked at, and so sometimes I'll need to go look up. Like every time I record a video, I need to go back like the last couple and be like, have I seen this thing? Because it looks really familiar, and so that helps me because I can just search my own descriptions and see if I've talked about a figure already. But I do see it in like the retention analytics and everything, where people, I think my average retention seems a bit higher now that I'm using chapters, but you do see like people clicking on all the chapters, it's fun. But I guess that's people clicking on each chapter pretty quickly is probably better than them skipping through like a quarter of the video and then leaving. So
yeah, for sure, that makes sense. And in terms of like the kind of construct as well, so obviously you've got your kind of topics and you've got the kind of chapters as well, but is there like anything that you make sure to include in every video as part of your overall kind of presentation or overall brand? I know you've got your kind of quickfire round in as well. Is there anything that you particularly enjoy including, or little Easter eggs in your videos that actually people may not know unless you say?
Sometimes when I'm editing, I'll have a stupid idea for something and I'll do a quick little edit, but like very rarely does someone make a comment about the silly edit, and I'm like, I spent an extra 15 minutes doing a stupid thing. Someone please say something. Like there was this one figure, it was this girl from Azulane who had she's got like a lot of hair, like white hair,
gorgeous,
and it's like all the way down to her feet, and it kind of just looked like an albino hedgehog, and so I put this hedgehog on her hair, and I'm like, she looks like a hedgehog, and then no one said anything, and I'm like, that was the funniest thing. It's like, it actually just looks like a hedgehog. And I was like, why? Someone say something. So, that's I do that quite often, but I think I'm doing it less and less now, just because I want to get the videos out rather than spending extra time just not finishing the video.
I know exactly what you mean. There was this one video, I can't remember, I think I was like reviewing some of the Bleach figures, like the Rengoku and the Ulquiorra and that kind of thing from Mega House. And I think I put so many little memes and things like Carrot Top, and then using Carrot from One Piece, and then like the Ginger Ninja Army, and like a bunch of UK ginger people, and loads of other transitions. And there wasn't like any feedback at all from that massive section of memes and spamming all these kind of little funny little things in there. And I thought I put so much time into various areas. Next time I'm just going to show the content and carry on.
Yeah. But it is, I think it is those little moments, and maybe people don't comment on it, but I feel like people do enjoy. You'll probably see it in your analytics whether people enjoy it or not. But I mean, if people are watching the video, keep doing it.
It's true. It's true. Right? Do you think like the people who watch your videos are kind of somewhat like you in terms of the way they think and the things they enjoy, and they're probably going to find the things I find funny because they're kind of vibing with you?
I don't know. I feel like my sense of humor and the way I present myself on YouTube, or at least, yeah. I mean, I think it is me in a way, but it's not like the meest me. I don't know.
It's a presentable you.
Like, yeah, I like silly memes, but sometimes I'll just be like, no one's gonna find this funny, or no one's gonna get this.
Way over the top, way too obscene.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had to do that very much in my personal life, in my YouTube life, and in my professional life, because just on the spur of the moment, something absolutely hilarious comes to you that you, on the tip of your tongue, you want to say it, but that last second you think, if I do say it, the feedback I get might be misunderstood. I might not quite deliver it the way I intend.
Yeah. So people are kind of used to it. People who I know are just like, oh, he's gonna do some stupid joke that we won't get.
But they're the best ones, right? Sometimes they're so bad that they're great.
Yeah. It's usually just a meme that they don't know, and then I have to explain the meme, and I'm like, it's funny because of this, and it's like, it's too much.
And like question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned like you play games as well. Which games are you currently playing? What's on your backlog at the moment?
Well, I've just finished an all-boss run of every Dark Souls game, and Bloodborne, and Elden Ring. And that's very surprising for me, because I started that in late May, I think. And before that, for the last, 10 years, I've sworn off Souls games. I'm like, they suck, they can't be good, they're bad, they don't respect the player, it's terrible, I'll never play these games. And then, but they're so popular, right? And it's like, it must be me. I am the problem. It's not the games, it's me.
You are the odd one out.
So I tried Bloodborne 4 times maybe, and at one point I'm just like, I can do it. I can beat these games. They're made to be beaten. I'm not bad. I wouldn't call myself bad at games. I think I'm pretty good. And if why can't I do this? And so it's like they've made these games for people to beat. It is doable. And I just needed to get over that mental hump of this is achievable. And then as soon as I got past I hit my head against the first part of Bloodborne for 4 hours. And as soon as I got past that and I started seeing progress, I'm like, this is good. I really like this. And then before I was finished Bloodborne, I bought all of Dark Souls. I bought Elden Ring. I bought Demon's Souls. I'm like, I'm playing all of this.
The whole repertoire.
I'm not making any videos. Don't talk to me. I'm only playing Dark Souls. So that's been me this year. But I did back in 2020, I challenged myself to play 52 games in 52 weeks. Because before that, I just kept buying games and then not playing them. So I'm like, this is it. I have so much free time because COVID. I'm going to just play as many games as I can. I think I ended up playing I played over 52 in those 52 weeks, which was surprising. That was 2 credits.
Yes.
And so I did that again in 2021, but this year I've been a bit slower. I've been playing some bigger games and stuff, but Yeah, games are like my life, and I sort of wish I was a games YouTuber and not a anime figure YouTuber, but also the games YouTube space is just ridiculous, and you have to...
Very saturated. Yeah.
It's
yeah. Like I think like 50% of the new YouTubers starting up, like, I'm a gaming channel. I want to be a gaming channel, and it's a really hard space to go into, because a lot of the established ones, were established back in the day when it was really cool to be a new hip thing, a gaming channel, right? So it's definitely a saturated field, but there's definitely space. There's definitely for the personalities and people who know how to entertain the viewers and bring them on that journey. So I think there's definitely, I wouldn't say there's no hope for new gaming channels, but it's very saturated, it's very crowded, as you said. But one thing that's really interesting you mentioned is that period of kind of critical self-reflection about, you've got this mental hump, the game is hard, it can't just be me, people have played this, people have beat that, and the one motivation, especially you mentioned Elden Ring, right? One of the most beautiful, like, stylish Japanese girls I have ever met, which also happens to be my missus's best friend, and you'd expect her to be like totally like a model, like really into girly stuff. She's the most hardcore weeb gamer you've ever seen. She's completed Elden Ring like six times in the opening few months, and she's just playing it non-stop. And you kind of think to yourself, if this person can destroy an absolute wreck in Monster Hunter, in Elden Rings, and all the hardcore games, there's no way that you can't do it if, with a bit of time. You look at like a 5'2" little long haired little girl. She's really cool, by the way. So when you look at that, games, as you mentioned, are designed to be beaten, they're designed to be enjoyed, and actually the challenge is something that's quite fun, because when you do overcome it, you get a sense of fulfillment. You get a sense of, wow, right, I've really kind of mastered some mechanics here, and how to do this kind of things. Like, at that moment when you overcame that kind of mental hurdle and started progressing, what was your kind of feelings? What was the
it was relief, I think, because I'm like, I can't just keep trying this game for so many hours, and like I didn't realize, especially with these games, it's okay to use a guide, and so I just let myself get babied by the community and just really understand what the hell I'm doing, and just use a guide, so I know where I was going and what I was doing, and I think that helped a lot. Like, the people who can play those games completely blind are a different sort of person to someone like me, or the regular average gamer, who needs some help because they're very obtuse. But I think, like, even once I started making progress, I found the game too easy, which was weird. And it took many more games after that for me to really get sucked into the something that's just so hard that you have this whole roller coaster of emotions while you fight it, you think it's impossible, and then you have like some heart racing moments and you finally kill the boss. Like, I live for that sort of stuff, and it took a while for Dark Souls to really get there for me, but now that it is, it's like I really enjoy it. But I played World of Warcraft for years, and I started my my first ever video on YouTube was like 15 years ago, which was a WoW video. And I did a few of those back in like 2006, 2007. And I was like 11. So I'm doing YouTube for forever, but only on this channel for a few years. And so I had the same sort of thing with that, where raiding with a group of like 10 people who I became like really close friends with, and some of my closest friends I have in real life are people who I met in WoW, and they happen to live in my city, and now we meet up all the time to play games and stuff, even though we don't play WoW anymore.
That's sweet, man. That's the life. That's really good, how to make a close friend, common interest, and really get together and things like that. You really bond, raiding parties and kind of same games and the same ups and downs and the same experiences. Like, wow, we did it, bro. We did it. We absolutely, that kind of thing. I love that. Yeah, that's the thing I miss as well.
It takes me back to raiding in WoW and spending weeks on a boss with these people, and we're just like, there's no way we're gonna beat it. Like, but eventually, like, people learn, everyone gets a bit better, and as a team, we were able to, like, overcome that boss and then get immediately stuck on the next one. But when the kill attempt is happening and you're about to kill the boss and everyone's like, this is it, this is happening, like, that is my favorite feeling, I think. And there's still some moments where, you know, things are going really poorly towards the end of a boss fight, but then we make some, like, miracle plays, and that sort of stuff it's really awesome.
Yeah, you're completely right. So you never forget moments like that. Obviously, throughout my life as well, with my dad owning an import games store, games have been a big part of my life. And I actually, because from my dad's side, from Vietnam, he has like something like 7 sisters and 1 brother in Cambridge, and we all were there, and they each had about 3 children. So I had like so many cousins growing up, and every month you'd have a birthday, a different cousin's birthday. We'd get together, bash out a PlayStation 2 and N64 or whatever, and the kind of games you play together. And you just remember, you know, all the times those kind of tournaments, Street Fighter tournaments. We were really into kind of beat 'em up games, sports games like football games, Pro Evolution Soccer, and then eventually you move on to different kind of games. So do you remember a series called like Age of Empires, Age of Mythology, that kind of Microsoft series? So I was actually #1 in the world in deathmatch for Age of Mythology for a good like 8 months and 9 months. Yeah, like
wow.
You know how people pay you to boost their accounts. They're like, dude, I need to go up the rankings. You play my account, man. How much you want? That kind of thing. That kind of level they're talking. And before it became scripted and, you know, loads of bugs and cheating and whatnot. And the people that you meet there actually become kind of friends for life, because some people that I play together very high level, and you're playing, you know, the top 5 are playing against each other, 2 versus 2 or whatever, and these new legit strats and whatnot. One guy there, a guy called Mike, who I consider the best Age of Mythology player of all time, he actually really helped me in a lot of my things in life, because I must have been 13, 14. He helped me with like English school homework, and he helped me with like lots of things outside of the game. And you never forget those moments. And even now, I'm still very close friends with him. We talk about finance and advice and other things. He's really cool. And then League of Legends, I fell into the trap, man. I went into League of Legends, and my goodness, Same. It must have taken 6 years of my life, you know, getting to platinum, did I get diamond? I almost got diamond. I met a lot of the celebrities, like the world's best players, like Double Lift and Bjergsen and whatnot. I really got into that crowd, really serious into it. And even then, you find a lot of people that you kind of bond with, play regularly with, you know, like raiding parties, and you interact with and talk with. And it's really cool how you can make friends in this day and age, you know, virtually online. Like 2 of my hockey colleagues, they met each other through playing like Counter-Strike or CSGO or something like that. And now they're married. So a guy and a girl, they met over CSGO.
that seems like the most unlikely thing to meet someone.
Right?
But
yeah, man, it's been an absolutely fantastic experience talking. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope you enjoyed it too.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, indeed. And just as a prize, I know you love the ladies, as do I. Let's see if I can find a goodie for you. So we are a friendly channel here, so a lot of the ones that I've just picked up will definitely not be suitable. So this one's pretty nice. It's a Tony War Scroll, but I will present to you 5 different ones off screen, and you tell me which one you'd like. I like this designer called Tony in Japan. So nice kind of fire tights, leggings, a bit cheeky there. I think this character's called Sayaka. Side of that one, or any other one that I'll show you in a bit, but coming your way as a thank you for spending the time with tonight.
Sure, thank you.
Indeed. And yeah, so let everyone know what's your next video coming up on the Ando Experience.
I don't know, but I'm planning on starting a new series, and I don't want to talk about it because I don't want people to. Because I think it's going to be like the 5 Figures I Regret thing, and I think it's going to start copying the format. I hope not. So I hope I'm going to work on that, but yeah, I have to get that room tour video going. So
absolutely, no, I like it. Of course. Suspense cliffhanger. Everyone's going to stay tuned to find out what it is. It sounds exciting. So yeah, everyone keep tuned. Absolutely, guys. Take care. Peace, and Ando, we'll speak very soon. Yeah. Ando was an absolutely amazing guest. I hope you guys enjoyed what he had to say as well. I just want to say a special thank you to all the patrons who support this channel: Sophia P, Insufficient Yogurt, Master Yao, James White, Santan Superman, Cobin T, Don P, Alex M, Ash W, A Aldridge. Next could be you. Every single one of my patrons will get a free goodie from Japan. From the C rank tier onwards, you can actually reserve a prize figure, a wall scroll, a music box, and more.